Kess Station orbited a dead world, forgotten by every star chart that mattered. It was the perfect place to disappear. Marcus Webb had purchased it with the last of his savings, a derelict research outpost abandoned decades ago when funding dried up. The station was dying by degrees. Oxygen recyclers stuttering, hull plating corroded, lights flickering in irregular rhythms. Perfect. He'd be dead in 6 months, maybe less. Long enough to settle his affairs. Short enough that he wouldn't have to think about the future. 30 years as a mechanical engineer, and Marcus had nothing to show for it but chronic pain, arthritis that made his hands shake, and a daughter who wouldn't answer his calls. The divorce had cost him everything. The accident at the refinery had cost him his career. What was left wasn't worth maintaining. He'd settled into a routine of slow entropy. Minimal repairs to keep life support functional, mostly just watching the station decay around him. It was honest work in a way, surrendering to physics. Then the ship appeared. Marcus was in the engine room when he felt the impact, a soft shudder, not a collision, but a docking. Through the observation port, he saw it. A sleek vessel of unfamiliar design, its hull scored with what looked like weapons fire. The ship's markings were Valerian Collective. His stomach tightened. The Collective didn't visit dead stations unless they were hunting something. He grabbed the maintenance wrench, his only real tool and his last real companion, and headed toward the docking bay. If they were looking for salvage, they'd leave him alone. If they were looking for someone else, well, he'd made his peace with not matching. But when the airlock cycled open, what emerged wasn't what he expected. The girl couldn't have been more than 20. Her skin was deep crimson, patterned with darker scales that caught the pale station light. Her eyes were vertical pupils, amber and intelligent. Small horns curved back from her temples. And when she moved, there was the flash of what might have been vestigial wings folded against her back. A dragon girl. Marcus had heard rumors of them. A dying species, scattered across the galaxy, hunted by those who wanted their scales for traditional medicine or their blood for dark rituals. He'd never actually seen one. She was alone. No weapons. Just a single pack slung across her back, and her eyes were wild with desperation. "Please," she said, her accent musical but sharp. Do you have a mechanic? Someone who can work on small vessels." Marcus stared at her. Behind her, through the open airlock, he could see scorching on her ship's hull. Energy weapon damage. Recent. "They're hunting me," she continued, seeing his hesitation. "The Collective. I escaped a facility on Kareth 9. I need my ship repaired before they track my signal. I can pay. I have credits, and She pulled something from her pack. A data chip. Information. Coordinates to undiscovered jump gates. Black market weapons caches. Things worth a fortune. Marcus should have said no. Should have turned her away. The Collective didn't forgive harboring their escaped prisoners. But something in her desperate defiance reminded him of himself. Someone choosing to fight despite impossible odds. "I'll fix your ship," he said. "But I want the credits. Not the information." She blinked, surprised. "Why not the information?" "It's worth more. Because if the Collective catches me, I don't want to be valuable to them alive." He turned toward the engine room. "Follow me, and tell me your name." "Lyra," she said quietly. "My name is Lyra." For the next 48 hours, Marcus worked harder than he had in years. His hands shook from the effort, from the pain he'd learned to ignore, from something else, purpose. Lyra worked alongside him, learning, handing him tools, asking questions about human engineering philosophy. They talked as they worked. She told him about the facility where they'd bred dragons to sell as exotic pets or harvest for parts. She asked him why he'd bought a dying station. When he didn't answer immediately, she simply said, "Well, you're not dying. You're fixing things. That's different." When her ship was ready, Lyra hesitated at the airlock. "Come with me," she said. "There are places that would hire a mechanic. Places the Collective can't reach." Marcus thought about his daughter, about the years he'd wasted, about the fact that he'd been preparing to die, and instead had just spent 2 days feeling alive. "Maybe," he said. Then, more firmly, "Yes. Give me an hour to gather my things." As Lyra's ship disengaged from the docking ring, Marcus watched Kess Station recede into the black. The dead world below was still dead. But Marcus Webb, the broken mechanic who'd come to die, was suddenly very much alive. And he had somewhere to go.